Indie housing market. Get the latest insights right here.
Welcome back to Indie Housing Market. I'm Kyle.morris with Morris Property Group and FC Tucker.
I'm Shelly Walters with the Shelly Walters Realtor Group and FC Tucker.
And today we have, okay, so I want to be like the day that everybody's been waiting for. But when I said that on the way here, my wife just mocked me and she's like, nobody wants it. And I'm like, no, I promise people want to hear this. So today we have what I would call our better halves, right? Today is the Festivus of real estate. This is the airing of grievances of the spouses. And
that
so
we may not even know about.
yeah, so we will be starting a GoFundMe page for marriage counseling, as the links and comments below. So we have my lovely wife, Jessica, and we have Shelly's lovely husband, David. Do I say lovely? Is that
You
no?
did. That's kind of weird. But
I'm going to say stout and strong husband, David. And so I don't know. We just want to get on here and see like what it's like to be married to one of us. Both of our personalities are a lot, but more importantly, just as being married to somebody in the industry, you know, and it's, you know, like there's so much I want to tell you about, you know, like my wife, and she's a saint, but, you know, like I also want to call her, you know, like whatever happened to the saying, like the old ball and chain, you know what I mean? Like that just doesn't play that well anymore, does it? Or whatever you guys call each other, you know, we have a very fun marriage, and, but it's trying in this industry, in my opinion. I'll also, you know, I want to get all of your guys' inputs, but I also know for me personally, I don't exist in real estate without my wife. Even though she does not do it, my ability to even get into this industry is because of her and her job, and she's W-2'd and was able to carry insurance. And so like a lot of my ability to succeed is off of her shoulders, quite honestly. So, and I never really talked to her about that. I mean, we did when we first got started, but we never really revisited, mainly because she already has enough leverage over me, and so I don't need to give her more. But I don't know, man. It's just really, you know, it's hard. You know, like we've talked about it, and I get pulled away a lot, and you know, it's
At the last minute.
do you have to take that phone
Change
call?
the plans. Yeah.
And then awards banquets and all this other stuff. And we were just talking about that before we
Being
got
on the
on
boards
here. So.
of different boards that we're both on.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I guess I kind of want to kick it over to you guys. And like I would say, what's the best way to take this? I'd say, what is the number one pro and the number one con of being married to, like, let's keep it away from just our personalities for a second, because we can get into that later, you know, but like just being tied to somebody who's in the industry.
I guess we say for both of you, I mean, he's newly involved in
Putting
himself into this position of, we never talked about it. I never talked about, you know, when we were getting married or getting together of like, so what's your business going to affect me? How is your job going to affect me?
Yeah.
You know, that's not something, and maybe, you know, one of those things is a lot of agents, we were talking about whether we were going to do this, and people are like, oh, that's so cool to do. You know, then they'd start their stories. But one of the things is when you're married to somebody in this business, you weren't, like, it wasn't something I said, well, let me tell you what I do. Because you can't explain to anybody what's going to happen, because it just happens. And then you're like, oh, it's even like a deal. Like, they're never two the same.
Yeah.
And never one of our days is the same. You never know what's going to blow up, what's going to be good, what's going to be bad, what's going to change. So for you, I would say a good question is, what was surprising to you in regards to being in real estate, that you were like, this is not what I signed up for, or this is just really strange, or this is good? I mean, I don't know.
well, for me, because we're just really new at this, or newly married, I was able to get into it when you were already established and very successful. I didn't experience the starting of it and all the struggles you guys had to go through. So to me, it was pretty easy. Me being in retail sales and sales in general, I kind of knew what it takes to be successful, and the hours you have to put in and stuff like that. So I was kind of like wide open as far as what to expect. I didn't have any expectations as far as I hope she comes home at 5 o'clock and has dinner on the table for me. You know? So that, I mean, I didn't expect anything like that. So I kind of go with the flow, and
It definitely goes with the flow.
most part, it's been pretty good. You are intense, so, but other than that, I mean, it's not wasn't bad. It wasn't an eye opener for me at all.
What about you, Jessica?
Where do we begin?
Yeah. Like that's why, like our journey has been like super interesting, right? Because when I got into it, there's a 90% failure rate. I was newly sober, all this stuff, and we were like, what if this doesn't work? And we had like financial game plans of like how we would handle it and everything. And like, I get to talk about that stuff, but people don't know what it's like to hear it from you, as to, how hard it was. And like, I mean, you had to carry the burden of it, but also we were coming out of a place where I'd been really, really bad. And you were like, I don't know if you guys, if you just are healthy, we'll just start from there as a baseline. So I don't know. What has it been like for you? It's much different now than it was in the beginning. I do know that much.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think about, for you guys to be successful, you can't shut off the job. You can't turn it off. I mean, I imagine some days you probably could, but I mean, just like what you were sharing earlier, Shelly, with, one of your houses, like when things happen, I mean, you've got to drop things and go fix it, and you've got to take care of people. So, I think that part I understood. I mean, I'm in sales also, but I can shut off my sales, hat. I can step away from work for the most part. But like what you were saying though too, I mean, I also understand how you have to, it consumes your mind even when you're not working, like, cause you're thinking about things that you have to do, or you're thinking about the things that maybe you need to tackle or do differently. So, I mean, I really understand that part. And I think today is different than, like you said too, when you first started. I mean, because, even when you had just a few listings, but you were on your own, like everything it was on you, right? At least now you've got a team and you lean on your team, but even building the team, there was a lot of challenges through that, because you're having to train people and teach them, and that's an additional amount of time away. So I think, you just kind of have to navigate it and figure it out, and just know that, I mean, I don't know that you ever can really know what you're signing up for. I mean, I certainly didn't, but I think, you just kind of have to be flexible and understand that it's all learning, and we'll figure it out. And I mean, that's kind of what we signed up for when we got married. And
yeah,
so you just figure it out as you go. And it doesn't mean that we don't get frustrated, or I don't get frustrated, or, we have stupid arguments.
Oh, tell me more. News to me.
But I mean, it's, you just have to be flexible. And I mean, I think, not to harp on the bad stuff, but, I mean, there are good things, right, that come out of this. And, you have the ability to have flexible schedules, and when things happen, you can jump in. And I mean, I travel a lot now too. So that's a different kind of, thing that we haven't had to face before. But I mean, I think that is the upside to the job that you do, is that you have flexibility in your schedule. So when I'm out of town, you're all mom and dad mode things for the kids, and you've got to figure all that out when I'm out of town. So
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of a two-way street in that respect, that we're just kind of willing to jump in and figure it out together.
I do think, like, you guys both being in sales, that does help, because you do know, like, hey, you have to respond quickly and everything. And but it's also weird because you guys are in a different type of sales, so like you can shut it off and stuff. I mean, for her and I, like, there is quite a few nights where, and not every night, but we'll be sitting in bed just together, right? And we both have our laptops up, it's 11 o'clock at night or whatever, and we're just working, and like, and like, we're fine with it. We're still connected. I think people think there's a bad thing with it. And it just really isn't for us, because we get all the other times too, and we just kind of know what we do. But like, I do get the random stuff. Like, I mean, this is like right around maybe like a week or two before Christmas. I remember, like, I had a reload client, and they're up in Winnipeg, right? Like, they've moved. And I get a text saying, power's out, sump pump, like all the alarms going off and like all this stuff. And like, I had to be like, hey, bye. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, what do you mean? Why do you have to handle it? And I'm like, who else is going to handle this at 11 o'clock at night? And I mean, we live in McCordsville. It's in Carmel. It's 11 o'clock at night. I mean, it's 30 there for me, 30 back. Like, my minimum is like, I won't be back till after midnight just because I have to leave, right? And so it is hard, you know, like the stuff we deal with and that we have to handle. I do think it's interesting you brought up the team. For me personally, because Shelly, you also have a team. The team helped me a lot be more available at home. It's one of the reasons why I did do that. It's I don't tend to do open houses because I wanted to have my Sundays back with my family, so I have a team and all this stuff. But the team has made it a lot easier for me because I can't imagine, like, there's just not a world that exists where we can do the volume that we do on my own. Same for you,
Right.
I would think.
Well, and it's just, it's the unknowns. I mean, I try really hard not to, like, cancel things we have planned, that kind of stuff, but it's happened. And he's always been very, forgiving about, like, I understand. But, there's a lot of guilt for us in regards to, I'm so sorry, I mean, not just him, but family or, my granddaughter's cheerleading competition was yesterday, and I really love to go to that. But you said open houses. I did my first open house in 5 years because my seller, really wanted to have one, and I don't pass that off.
Yeah.
That's one thing you and I both do. We don't pass off what we think needs to be done. Like you said, 11 o'clock, who could I call? You can call the 24-hour plumber or whatever, but electrician, they exist, but you and I would not do that. So, I missed her championship competition, and I got a video, which thank goodness her mom sent me a video, so I felt like I got to at least see it. But, there's that guilt of having to always plan, but never knowing if it's going to fall through. And that's one thing that you've been really good about, with just kind of understanding.
Like when I sold in retail sales, we worked Black Friday, we worked Christmas. I mean,
oh yeah,
so
high volume days. Yeah,
I didn't experience the family thing like me and you share together now. It just wasn't on the cards. I always had to work, and I had to work long hours, so I missed everything. If I was home for Christmas Eve, I would get in like 6 o'clock at night. Christmas Eve dinners comes, and then I'm in bed ready to go. But it was tough to kind of balance that family life, doing sales in general, and the flexibility that you have. You mentioned traveling. I traveled more with you than I ever did in my whole life. So, so that's great, and I'm able to experience family life a lot more with you, even though you're always busy 7 days a week. I could see that family a lot more.
I think that's true. I think we're like that too. So she travels for work in the middle of the week because because of what she does now. But we actually, so even though like I get pulled away a lot, I do feel like we have more family time and more time together. And maybe it isn't, but it's more productive and more present. And I don't know if it's because like I get pulled away a lot, so I do feel guilty or whatever, or because she travels, she feels guilty and like wants to be present when she's home and all this other stuff. But because of the way the pay structure is, like we do make some chunks where like you can take some nice vacations and stuff. So there is that as well. But it's hard for us, especially with ours. Like we've had to lean on other resources. Like we've had a nanny and we've had support from friends. And I think for me, like the hard part that I think about, and she probably doesn't, because like it's so much different to be W-2'd. Like I think about what this looks like in 20 years for me, and like I don't, like my fear is like this is growing to such a thing with what I have that how do I ever turn it off? We were talking about it earlier, like my son, he's talking about whether he should, he's going to be a senior, and whether he should take half days, right? Because he's like, I don't want to take stupid classes and I could work. And it's like, maybe he could come work for me, And so then like
That's
my
how
ability,
it starts.
I know.
My whole family is involved in that's
Yeah,
how
I mean,
it
Raquel
starts.
is currently doing this, is doing all of
My
the
daughter.
stuff behind the podcast, right? Jeff and Lindsay and even
I only have
Jeremy.
one family member that has not joined the D team at one point. But yeah, so, I think people see in the family, they're very close to us and see what's going on. Like your son, he lives at 24 hours a day with you and sees success and sees not only the success, but, we can say that we have, fun or just the energy level is always there. But yeah, my daughter, then her husband Jeff, then my mom was my executive assistant. My other son worked for me, Jeremy, and then now Raquel. I have one other family member, Crosby, who lives in Florida. I'm sure he would have started somehow. I know what he would have done for me, and I begged him to come up here to do it. But it's funny the way you said that brings to mind that no matter how stressful in a job, and we're constantly in the background going, I got to do this now, and I thought I was going to do this, and you're running around just, answering the phone, doing whatever you have to do. But my whole family went, I want to do that. And your son said, I want to do that.
Yes.
Our daughter said it too.
My daughter wants to do
our
it.
daughter's 12. When you ask her today what she wants to do, this is what she wants to do.
Isn't it funny?
Which is funny.
Yeah, because, I don't know. I'm sure he gets to see me throw some F-bombs around a lot, or just the stress level, or just come in and
9 o'clock this morning it started.
I had a situation already. Yes, so
Like,
that
I
happens.
don't even have caffeine in me. This is too early for
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like that's the same thing. We're sitting around and we're having a conversation, and boom, text comes in, and you look at it and you're like,
Shit.
bye.
I gotta deal with this.
Gotta
yeah.
see you later. We had a whole 3 words to each other, but
So
gotta go.
you talk about the family stuff, and like when I first got into this, one of my grandpa had a brokerage like down in Martinsville when I was growing up, and like it was just a small one, but like I wanted to reopen his brokerage. Right now, I realize how stupid it would be to own my own brokerage, but we had discussions like this past year, with my parents passing away and everything, and we sat down with a financial advisor, and we're like trying to figure everything out, and my wife's like, well, like I want to retire at 55, and I was like, what? Are you serious? And like all I think about is like, I'm gonna die showing a house at 80. Like that's all I could think instantly, and I'm like, that sounds nice. Like I'll never get to do that. And then we've joked about it in the past, like would she come work for the team? And honestly, like it's my biggest. It'd be like the biggest blessing and my biggest fear, because like she's better than me. Like I'm really good with people and like all this other stuff, and I know how to drive business, but like behind the scenes, like it's night and day how much better she is than me with organization and like systems and all this other stuff. But I do know, like we've talked about this in the past, like not she and I, but like I have very vocally, and I've talked about it with you, I don't see a lot of successful agents cross a certain threshold without ending up divorced or the spouse ending up in the business. And so like seriously, because
join or go.
yeah, I mean that's what it is. And so it's like, I don't know if we ever do that, and like it's not a knock on anybody who's done that, but I watch and I pay attention, and like when I got sober, all I wanted back was like my wife and kids. So like I don't care if I have $100 million team or anything. Like I have what I want with them, but the rest of the industry wants me to push to grow or whatever, and I don't want to lose them to go sell more houses. Like, and so it's like this really hard threshold, and like I think she sees me struggle with it, because she hears people pressure me to like do this and grow this and hire this, and like she hears all the people who want to join the team and I say no to, and she's probably like, well, why don't you? It would take some off of your plate. But like that's my fear, right? Is like I don't want to lose this to go sell. I saw some guy do a podcast, and there was a little clip, and they're like, what's the goal? And he's like, what'd he say? He said he wanted 100 agents and 1,000 transactions yearly. And I was like, why?
Yeah. No, thank
Why?
you. That just stresses me out.
Like it's a
thinking
cool
about it.
number, and it's like, oh, all right, yeah. And I'm like, what else can I have?
Right. No, I totally agree. And that's one thing I've tried to do is, I'm competitive, and, like to see the final sales of the year is, I probably 3 to 4 years ago was all about next year better, get more and more and more. And I just kind of came to the fact, like, we've been together for like 3 years now, and just spending time, the amount of what I sell takes care of me, right?
Yeah.
A little above and beyond, and I don't need more. But I was very competitive, and it took me to my about 14th year, 13th year to say, why are you pushing so hard to get farther and farther along when things are fine as they are? It's the day-to-day things that happen out of our control that we never know what's coming that makes me just have a hard time dealing with it on a day-to-day basis, and then to know that I just missed something that I couldn't have. So, but there's always that fear of two things for me. Is one is we are paid on commission, that for any time that I would say no would cause me to lose money possibly, and or the second time I say no could be more money. It's just, there's a fine slippery slope of saying no and slowing down and not being so intense of losing it all.
Yeah.
And that's in my mind. And so it's kind of like to say no, and I'm sorry, David, I'm going to have to do this. And I probably never say I'm sorry. I probably just go, see ya. But
Yeah, Shelly, you don't seem like the sorry type.
thank you.
I didn't mean
That's
it as
the
a
first time I've heard
compliment.
it come out of her mouth.
Hey, we recorded it, dude. We recorded it.
History now.
I could say it happened. But, growing a team, like you said, and like I've stopped looking to grow a team because it really starts to just in my mind tell me that's extra time you're going to have to put into it. Could that make my numbers better? Yes. Could I help somebody else? Which is part that I would love to do, is have a team member where I could teach and train and get them into the business and help them. But that would just be more time. It's really hard to just sit back and say, not hard, but that's what I've become, is sit back and say, I have enough and I'll just keep it going. But to keep it going, I have to say yes and jump when I'm requested.
I'm curious if David deals with it. Jess helps me a lot with that stuff. And even here recently, like in the past couple months where I struggled with that stuff and the financial piece, you talk about being competitive. Like, I don't pay attention to our numbers. I know what they are, but I don't worry about
I know them in January.
beating people. Yeah, my competitive nature is the worst side of me. That's how strong my competitive nature is. So I stay away from it, which I think is probably other people think is weird. But I think you can still be driven without being competitive because I have this internal drive, right? And so I've already overcome, I don't want to say overcome because everybody will be like, blah, blah, blah. But, I went through a drug addiction and got sober, and we have like our life back. And they don't put your sales number on your tombstone.
Right.
And so I've lost both my parents. She lost her mom at a young age. Her mom passed away at a young age. And her dad has a neurological disease. And it's like, well, what do you make all this money for if you can't enjoy it, right? And then it's like, well, for my children. And then, like, you guys, all of you guys know, like, I deal with people all the time whose parents did very well, and then I'm sponsoring their children because their children have drug and alcohol problems, right? And so, like, there's this fine line of doing all of this stuff and enjoying your life. And so I don't know, like, I'm sure Shelly gets wrapped up in the finance piece, so I don't know, David, if you ever help her with that, because, like, this is like a couple months ago, I was stressed, and Jess was like, why are you so stressed? And I was like I just ran through all these number scenarios, because I'm a business guy, right? A business owner, so I have to pay attention to, like, what my operating account is, and, all this, and our burn rate and all this other shit. And my wife was like, she's like, hey, like, I work, like, we're going to be fine. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot. You know what I mean? and like, she literally just yanked me out of it instantly. And like, I probably had lost 2 months. And like, cause I just, and like, I had slowly trickled away and like to where she had noticed it. And so I don't know if you are ever able to, like, pull her out of it, be like, hey, like, I know you want another sale, but, like, we're fine. Remember, we have, like, a trip scheduled and stuff. And then she's probably like, but we have to pay for it. And we have to backfill it. And, like,
It's hard to get her out of that mode. There's times where I walk in, she works mostly from home, so we have an office, so I walk in there, and I can see that she's stressed out.
Yeah.
Things are just going through her mind, like, and, I say, everything's going to be okay. It all works out. And I help her out sometimes doing little piddly things, like put a sign out here for me at this house. I don't have time to do it, so I'll go do it.
You hear that, Jessica?
Thanks.
So I do that stuff. I don't know much about the business, and every day I think I ask her, what can I do for you to help you out? And she says, I got it. But it's back to one of the points that you were making. You were talking about family working for you. She asked me, said, you should get your real estate license. You'll be good
absolutely.
at it.
He'd be very good.
And then
You would be. Yeah.
Thanks. And I told her, I said, no. I said, then I'll be doing the same hours you're doing up 24/7 all the time too, and that's not good for both of us, I don't think. So
That's awesome.
So yeah. So I like doing what I'm doing now. She gives me liberty to do what I'm doing, and she helps me out in that. And so I think that's a good mix right now.
He makes dinner every night.
That's right.
Dang, now you're making me look bad, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just one thing.
Hey, that back. I felt that coming.
Before we were married, I did not eat dinner.
No.
Literally did not eat
Frozen.
dinner. Yeah, frozen food, whatever, microwave.
I have a mic, but it would still be frozen in the middle.
But yeah, so I mean, he has taken a lot of stress off me in regards to a lot of that, but it's still, I'll push as hard as I can, not against him, but just to whatever we have in front of us is going good. And I know you're the same way. It's just you take care of your clients, and that we both work from our heart.
Yeah, I mean, Jess can talk about it, but she sees me like I get in it, not just finances, like with the team and my guys and making sure they're happy. Clients, we have clients who are like dying of cancer and like just how it all impacts me. And it's interesting to see her, like she's probably she's the only person who can kind of snap me out of it. My sponsor can snap me out of certain things, but like she's the only person who can snap me out of some of the other stuff. But like it's weird. It's gotta be frustrating for you to like see me get like that and be like, dude, like what the fuck is wrong with you? Like we're fine, So I don't know.
Well, I think the thing that I struggle with more than anything is not typically the things that you do for your clients for your job. It tends to be the extracurricular activities. And Shelly, I'm sure you get asked to do a lot of extra things too. And those for me sometimes are the ones that are more challenging to wrap my head around, because there are some days when I'm like, hey, Kyle, repeat after me. Say the word no.
Oh, I hate this.
Because
I knew this was going to come up today.
Because sometimes it is a little bit of like, you can't do it all. So you've got to pick and choose the things that you say yes to. But that's also hard too, because I know, what drives him. I know what his passions are. And, so I also have to kind of like mentally juggle, like, how much do I push him to let go of the things that, I know that he is passionate about, whether it's, things in recovery or work related. But, again, we're only human and we can't do it all. And you also know too that at some point you'll get burnt out, and it doesn't take a lot, right? But I think the good thing though is that at least like, we talk about all these things, all the things that frustrate him, that frustrate me. And it doesn't mean the conversations are pretty, but, we talk through it and we figure it out. And, again, like my job is different and I travel a lot, like you said, during the week. But, at the same time, there's a lot of nights too where like I've got to do things that I can't get done during the day. And, he's understanding of that because he does the same. So it's just a balance, I think.
It's I don't know if you ever get frustrated with Shelly, right? Because she's not doing something or whatever. Because like people who kind of like do what we do, they tend to be let's just say we're not the engineer personalities, you know what I mean? And so we can get lost in the clouds and we can get lost in the weeds and all this other stuff. And so I'm sure you have to yank her in. I'm sure you have to yank him in sometimes too. Like, so Jess will be gone, and she'll be gone for like 3 days, or whatever. And she'll come home and she'll be like, "Hey, did you do this? And did you do that?" And so first of all, that's not even a real estate thing. You got to think like with my past, I was not always the most present at home, and so like like there's some damage and some baggage there or whatever. But like, you know, like my response, I want to be like, hey, lady, like I run a team that does $30 million in sales. It's top 1% in the nation. I kind of can keep, is the house still here when you got home and it's not on fire? We'll be okay. Like I run a big company. But at the same time, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's because she knows my personality well enough, though. Like, if it is one of those weeks, like it's 50-50 if she comes home and the house is on fire. Just so just because I can sell it to her, like everything's fine. Like she knows me well enough to know that like I have so much going on. I'm like 50% present because like you're dealing with transactions and all this other stuff.
Because I think we're the same. Is your brain is always half over here, and what do I need to do? What did I forget to do? What was supposed to be done? And oh, wait a minute, who texted me about 3 minutes ago? I mean, it's just your brain is always over here, like you said, at nighttime too. And I think just last night, I'm like, oh yeah, I was like 11:15, like, oh yeah, grab the phone. Because it just hits you at a weird time.
I input a listing. It was funny because everybody was asleep. And so like I remembered I'd gotten a text like that. And at like 1:30, I was putting in our family calendar a listing appointment I have next Sunday. And I was like, if anybody saw this right now, you know, like, and I'd gotten the text like 3 hours before, but I'd kind of forgotten about it because to your point, like, I was trying to be present, you know?
Well, the funny thing, this is weird, and I've never told you this, but
here we go. No. Let's go. This is what the kids call the T.
Isn't there another word for it?
6,
now
7?
Something. Oh God. No, it's to grab the phone at 1 a.m. and be on the phone, and for him to wake up and go, "Who are you texting? Who are you talking to?" I'm like, no, I'm working. I'm actually working. You know, it's like I don't want to get caught on the phone at 1 o'clock in the morning, but I just thought of something. You know,
you like sneak off to the bathroom to like send an email because you don't want.
I mean, I think we've been sitting there like watching a show, like the kids are in bed, and he starts getting text messages, and it's like 10:30, 11, and I'm like, who is texting you? And you know, and I listen, we're a little bit of like night owls.
Yeah.
I understand everybody operates at different hours too, and sometimes, you know, he'll get the rare client. I don't think it's most of them, but some, they're also like night owls too, right? So then they text you late, right? Because I mean, they text you when they can, and you've got to respond. But it's always one of those thoughts in my head. I'm like, who is texting you at 11 o'clock at night? And then you're responding,
right?
And then sometimes, like, you know, you talked about the client who lived out of the country. I mean, I think you've had one or two of these where they've been even like in way different time zones.
Oh yeah.
And you're having conversations, and it's like weird hours, and I'm just like, okay.
Dude, I had one they were missionaries, and they were in Lebanon, the country. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
what time is it there? That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Let me adjust. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things. And I've started it. Is my fault from my very beginning. Is I've responded at 10 o'clock at night.
That's on me. Yeah.
The second you respond at 10 o'clock at night, that opens their door, right?
Good to go.
Yeah. I remember I used to sit and I'd get all my stuff done, and then my catch up was from like 10 to 1. And at 10 to 1 at night, I'm doing my emails, and I didn't understand how to do the send at 8 in the morning. And they'd be responding. I'm like, shit, now I'm in a conversation. I didn't mean for that to happen. I just was trying to get my stuff done. And now all of a sudden I'm working. And that was one thing. I mean, I'm talking send emails, just learned last year that I should do that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you open the door. And that's unfortunately what happens. And you know, I answer. Here's why. I can get it done tonight, and then I don't have to do it tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's that much more off my plate.
And I understand that.
Because we opened that door.
Yeah, but I've dealt with that in my work. And my work has never been, it's during, you know, typical working hours, but like if I'm driving, well, but hear me out. I mean like customer stuff, right? But But then, you know, I'm driving, and so I can't answer the emails, or I'm, you know, but so even now when I'm, like you said before, like if I'm traveling and I'm spending the night somewhere or a couple nights in a week, I'm like, well, I'm sitting in a hotel room by myself, so I might as well just knock it all out. But the thing that I've realized, especially the last 2 years, is I also manage a team now, and I've had to learn to set the emails to go out, because it sends a certain kind of like message. I think it's hard, I think, because I always tell my team, I'm like, if I send you an email, it doesn't mean I expect a response right away, but But I've had to realize, like, I need to send it so that it goes out, like, the next morning.
Yeah.
So that, you know, because I'll get questions, right? Like, oh, I saw you were working until 11 o'clock
Right.
at night, right? And it's the appearance of, like,
And our boss, she works all the time, so she doesn't mind. She's always sending us emails at 10, so we know we can talk to her at 10 if we
Right.
have to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
that's
they do
the
it.
that's the perception.
But for our industry, that's hard because like when you're new, like you don't have a lot to offer. So responsiveness is one of your like value adds, right? And then like
Yeah.
you just get stuck.
And that's where it started. You're talking to me, I'll talk back because it's business.
I'm just
right?
grateful that you
Yeah,
talked to me.
thank you for
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
to me right now.
So there's this thing called ninja selling, right? And so they do it in the industry, and it's this whole idea of like you can shut off your phone at 5 or 8 or 7 or whatever it is, and Eric Forney, he does it. So I have a ton of respect for him because he did it during COVID, and it was like really. Like you remember, like you were writing offers on Thursday, and like you were like, hopefully I just
Yeah.
find out today because I got to write another offer on Saturday. And Eric has a very large, successful team. You know, nothing but admiration for him. And they would be like in their agent remarks, it would say, you know, we don't review offers on the weekend. And I'm like, says who? You know what I mean? Like, are you
I've seen
crazy,
those,
dude?
and I'm like, that's when we're working.
Yeah. But you know what? Like, I still got deals done with them. They still sold their houses. And it's on me, right? That I haven't acclimated to that. It almost feels too hard to get out of what I am. But for me and my personality, you know, like I could see the benefits of it and the boundaries that could be created in the life that I could have around it. But it also reminds me of my old life, and I don't want that, right? Of like this 9-to-5 job and all this other stuff, because what I do enjoy about my life is that I do have luxuries of time that other people don't have, like that I can go to the gym, you know, in the morning at times and do some other things that other people can't do, or I can go do something with my children or my wife or whatever it may be because
You have an appointment.
well, yeah, because I
You
am
know,
going to work
you
from
always have to
9
say
to
that,
10
right?
o'clock. Yeah.
I never knew that when I started. It was when I was told very early on is I was always saying yes to everything. Yes. Oh, you want to see me at 4 and it's 3:30? Yes, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to say yes, or they're going to call somebody else. That was always my thing. And back then, I was taught just tell them you have an appointment. I'm like, but I don't. I was just really wanted to just go to my granddaughter's cheerleading competition. And they're like, well, you have an appointment. And I'm like, no, I don't have an appointment. I'm not working. An appointment correlated working.
Yeah.
And finally, when I realized that appointment meant I'm busy with whatever I'm doing, it's an appointment with myself.
Yeah.
And I started doing that. And that was just such a relief of having an appointment for myself. And it was okay.
Yeah.
But literally Sunday when I did that, I told my clients, I want to go watch my granddaughter. I'm like, I'm not lying about that anymore. I want to see my granddaughter's cheerleading competition. So that was really hard for me to let other people know I actually am a human being and I have a life and I have a family. And I think maybe clients appreciate the fact that you show that.
I think that makes you relatable. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, because the clients that you're working with, they have lives and families and jobs and priorities too, right? So I think the more like you can say, I'm here for you, but I've also got my own things. Like, I think you have
Yeah.
to be true to who you guys are.
Like,
I'm honest
A real
about what
person.
I'm doing.
Yes, yeah.
I do tell people what I'm doing and why I am not available, but that I'll be available after it. And like, I just don't leave the window open for anything there. Even when it's like, cause like I go to 12-step meetings, right. And all this other stuff, and so that stuff's just non-negotiable for me. Right.
well, and they do know that you're available normally 99% of the time, other time.
So that's why I get that.
You
Yeah.
change it and say, well, can you do it at 5 instead of 3? And that was what is amazing to me. They didn't say, no, I'm going to call, Joe Smith over on the other side that's with, Tucker. He's better than you because you aren't talking to me. They said, yeah, sure, that works for us just fine. One thing was happening, it was funny though, this past couple weeks ago, same client, they were looking at houses and they were, very interested in, first night they wanted to see houses at like 6, and I said, I can't, I'm going to dinner for my kids' birthdays, and could we do it at like 4:30? Oh yeah, great. Well, then they wanted to see a house on Wednesday, and I'm like, I can't. I'm going to dinner for my kids' birthdays. Because there's 4 birthdays within like 3 weeks of each other, and we were doing birthdays for.
Sounds
I'm
like you're lying.
I know. Now I'm like, I'm not lying. I promise. I've got birthday after birthday after birthday dinner. But I don't care.
It didn't work for a wedding day though.
Oh, that's so.
Oh,
true.
I do remember that. You had to work.
That's so true.
So you had to work on your wedding day, and
I wrote an
worked-
offer and did my makeup in the car on the way to the area we were getting married, the beach. But anyway, I was doing my hair and makeup in the car because I had to write the offer for them.
And they knew about it.
And they laughed. They thought it was funny. Oh, you're writing an offer for us on your wedding day. I hope it's okay. I'm like, well, okay.
It's not. I worked at so her mom's funeral and both of my parents' funerals. Not the funerals, I don't want to say, but like the viewings. I was getting work texts and calls, and like I would respond, like, hey, I'll get back with you. I'm at my mom's show, funeral, or like whatever it is, and I don't know. I mean, looking back, like I wonder if I'm gonna view that as like the tragedy of my life, or if like it didn't even matter or whatever. Part of it too is like I was so, when you go through something like that, obviously, like, I don't know which one's more traumatizing, a marriage or a funeral. I'd say they're the same thing, but sorry, dear. So, like for me, like I was almost like outside of myself for that stuff anyways, because of just the traumatic nature of losing like a loved one or whatever. And so to be distracted, did it help me? I don't know. Like,
well, once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's what happens to me. If I pick up the phone,
make it go away.
Yeah, I look at it and like it's going to be in my brain. I need to do that. Let me just get rid of it. Let me just do it right now.
Because that's what prevents me from being present, ironically.
Correct.
So it's weird. Like I want it to go away so I can be present, but
Right.
making it go away is also not being
It's
present.
like, oh, this is only going to take me 30 seconds. And then they answer back to you. And then it takes another 30
Yeah.
seconds. Now it's been a half hour because you're just like, oh, I should never engaged in the first place.
I would like to have Eric on here, actually. I'm very curious. Like, did he do
That
that?
would be fun to hear, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like which came first, the chicken or the egg? Is he able to do the volume he does because he does that, or did he have to do that because of the amount of volume that he does? Like
It would be very interesting to hear somebody that has that type of a
because he
personality.
does. I mean, I don't know where he's at nowadays as far as like what he does, but like when I was newer, I mean, I do 100 transactions a year, and he was up there, and he had a bigger team, and I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I'm dealing with constant transactions, so it'd be interesting. And then here's the other thing, like, would we even want that in our lives, right? Because I could suddenly say like, hey, I have more time at 8:00, but like 0 chance of getting a hold of me prior to 5:00, because like I'm available.
Balls to the walls on that.
Yeah,
the
it's
rest
like
of
my
the
old
time.
job, when I worked for the VA, like, if something popped off and we needed help with something, I mean, I had to work, I mean, I had an employer.
I couldn't do it. I mean, that's just his job model or his, business model. For me, I can't do that. I know he's going to be okay with it as long as I don't just, at least I showed up for the wedding. I mean, I make things work.
Lucky me.
Yeah, man, she's just a hopeless romantic there, David.
But, I make
She
things
blessed
work
you with
as
her
best I
presence,
can.
man. You didn't use a remote closing for your wedding or a power of attorney.
He didn't
A
even have his
proxy.
phone with him, so I couldn't even. I mean, there was nothing that could make me not.
You
but-
guys are coming up on it's in February, isn't
yeah,
it? Your anniversary. Look at
Valentine's
that.
Day.
Good memory.
Yeah.
Dude, you got married on Valentine's Day?
Yes.
Aw.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That took a lot of pressure off on gift stuff now. Dude, that was
Had the same
smart.
thing, So
Her
birthday
dad
was though.
her dad got like married on his birthday or something, like, so that he wouldn't forget.
My parents got married on my dad's birthday, so
That would be strange.
never forgot that anniversary.
That's why he did it. I'm like, yeah, smart, man. Oh goodness. So I don't know. So like, you guys get to like deal with the ins and outs of it, but like, I get it. It's just the business, but like, I mean, Shelly and I are also just like two pretty different people in general. Like our personalities, you know what I mean? Like I just have a high high motor, dude. Like you call it mental health, you call it whatever you want, you know what I mean? But like I have a high motor and I operate at at 100 miles an hour at all time. And like when I'm going 20 miles an hour is honestly the most like uncomfortable for me. And so like with Shelly, like it's she's the same way, man. And like Shelly's like me, like I guarantee, like, you go to the grocery store and Shelly's talking to random ass people. You know what I mean? Like, trust me, my wife deals with the same thing. And here's the worst part is, like, my son has seen that. Like, my son's like that now. And so, like, and my wife's a slight introvert, and she'll be like, she's like, who was that? And like me or Evan will be like, I don't know. Just like,
Right?
just like their earrings. So I said, nice earrings. And
Yeah.
it turned into a 5-minute
and that's
conversation.
like our son, even when he was little,
Yeah.
we'd go to the grocery store and he would talk to every single person and invite them over to a barbecue that he thought was going to happen at some point with strangers. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he has Kyle's personality to a T, but I don't think I don't know. It's funny. You talked about like, possibly having him come and work with you, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what he wants
Well,
to
I
do.
will tell
but,
you, my son was really, I mean, this is where I say that you were saying, like when you turn 60 or 80, will you look back and say, I wish I would have got that day back or that time back? My son, and I've probably told this once, at least I know you've heard it, is when Raquel was 13 when I started real estate, so I thought that I could finally, work. And it wouldn't matter because she could come home off the bus by herself and all that stuff. And I had two other kids at home. But it still did matter. I wasn't present anymore. Like I was working till 3 or 4 in the morning every day. I was bound and determined I was going to get all those 2,000 deals a month that were sold on my board. I was like, I got to figure out how to do that. I was just that way. And when my son, who at that point he was like 16 when I started.
Jeremy?
Yes. When he left for college, he came into my office, which was in the house. Our whole office was in the house. I had 5 people working in my house. I mean, you could not get away from this.
Wow.
And he came in and he sat up against the window and he said, he's leaving for college, and he just started crying. And he said, I hate real estate. It took you away from me. You ruined our family. You were never available. You were always gone. You were always on it. Like, nothing. I would never do real estate. Real estate is the worst business. I mean, he let me have it, and he was crying like, a grown man when he's 18, and I was like, oh, that sucks. How do I get that time back?
Yep.
And then it's the first thing he did was he graduated from college and went to New York and worked for commercial real estate in New York City. So it's kind of weird that he did that. But that was real eye-opening that somebody cared that much that I was around. I was like, I'm just working. But it hurt him. And I'm sure Raquel probably says some things too. I mean, it was like I was driving so hard to be good.
To
that
provide.
To just be good and have a career that I could do more with the family monetarily, right? And that backfired. So that's... can't get that back. And so anybody out there who's doing that right now, you can't get that back.
I try to pay attention to that stuff because we have another friend and their family member was in real estate, and like there's trauma around it. You know what I mean? Like just like some similar stuff to what you're saying. And like I try to pay attention to it, but I also know like when I was building the team, like there was a solid 3 years where like it was just go on accident, and I feel like I've been way better about it the past 3 years. I mean, I've only been doing this 8-9 years at this point. So, and the team just like grew so rapidly and so quickly. I almost didn't notice it at first, and I've been able to pull back on it. But like, she's the one who has to deal with that on the back end, of like, where's dad at today or whatever. And like coming from where we came from, like that's some odd stuff to hear because like that's similar to what I did with when I was struggling out there. But like I feel like like I'm really good about it these days. I'm okay saying no, and like I don't have to. I've really paid attention to like I don't have to grow, and I don't have to care what the real estate industry thinks of me or thinks I should produce or what our momentum is, and like I've really pulled back on all of that stuff. And I see other agents out there just driving and they want to be this and they want to be that. And like, I try to be very mindful to listen to the stories that you have told, and that the stories like that some of my other friends have told of those experiences, and like that's real and it's palpable, and like I just don't care. I would rather just be around my family and make less money, and you know, people be like, oh, it's to take care of your children, and I'm like, it's not. Like, one of the interesting things that we do as a society or in this business or in America or whatever is I don't even want to say sacrifice, but like that's the best term to put it. We make all of these sacrifices that are pointless under the guise of responsibility, right? And that's just what we use to sell it to ourselves to be digestible, right? Like, I want to provide a better life for my kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't like 1840. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, you know, I don't have electricity and like, you know, we're out in the fields and like I got to hunt for my food and all this other dumb shit. You know, like we sell it to ourselves under this guise of responsibility. And like when I am not like where I want to be, like mentally in a good space, I sell it to myself. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, but I want to take care of this, and we just do it. I mean, I'm super grateful like that. So she and I have been married 20 years now, this year in August. And like, I really wanted her and I to be able to do something for our 20th wedding anniversary. And because of everything she's gone through with me and all this stuff. And then we're like, but our kids are getting older, so let's take them. So we're going to take this massive trip, you know what I mean? Right. To like Europe and take the kids.
Fun.
But I also sold it to myself under this guise of like, you know what I mean? But like, because I want to make it up to them, and like I want to create this memory, and like, man, like shit, we could go to like Lake Lemon for a week and be fine. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
we just could.
Yeah.
But like, that's not like what happens to my brain. Like, and so like I do it with real estate, I do it with everything, and like I think all of us do it, not just me, not just you, but both of you as well. And we lose sight of like what matters, because like this is what matters. Like the only first thing I said is like, I exist in this industry because of her. That's the reality of it. You know what I mean? Like, you've gone through a lot of life stuff that has made you realize like what freaking matters. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
well, there's days, I mean, he does pull me back in, because he can just tell, I know that, you know, just something that's not going to go like I'm not going to stop. Like, I'm just going to continue, and I'm going to go to bed this wound up. And
she's going to die in somebody else's house, right?
She
like
might,
that, yeah.
Yeah. There's times where she says that I'm going to retire. I'm done with this stuff. But she loves the compassion that she throws into it. She loves when the people that she sells to or buys from her that are so appreciative. Hey, you helped out her life. Because that's how she views it. She's helping out someone's life. You know, some people might think it's just a house sale. She feels it as a life change for him. So she dedicates a lot of time into it. A lot of time.
Man, that's a sales tag right there. That was good. That was good.
Well,
that's the truth,
you
man.
sell from your heart, and I do as well. And we aren't. A lot of what we've said is that we're, you know, driving for the numbers or the money. We've said that's not what we do. We don't even know our numbers, but we do know it allows us to have a lifestyle that is different from some other jobs that we could have. But in the end, the families that I've met and the friends that I've made and that's to me what real estate's all about. And if it didn't have anything to do with helping people or that, then this would not be worth it. Like, this business is not worth it to just go through what we go on a daily basis, the stress that we go through, if it wasn't for the people. And that's what I love about it. So I, like you're talking about whether or not anybody's going to ever retire and you look 80 or whatever. The day you retire, you would not be going 100 miles per hour every day, and you would not be meeting all these new people, and you would not be helping families, and you would not be helping the kids of the families. Like for me, I helped 17 years ago. Now I'm on the second generations. How do you stop that? That's where I say to retire, it's like all of that would just go away like instantaneously. And then what are you going to do?
Find a hobby.
Yeah. I don't know if a hobby could ever be this high intense.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of good things about pickleball.
Yes.
I got
Oh, dude, he's like, yeah, let's go, dude.
Well, anyway, thank you guys so much for coming on. It just wasn't as bad as we all thought it might be.
It wasn't. It wasn't. Well, and I think part of it too is like we wanted to do it as a dialogue, so we just kind of put you on the spot and stuff. Like, there's just so much more we could go into. Like, like I'm always, I don't know if you deal with it, but like I know my wife deals with it, and it's because of real estate, it's because of recovery, and people are like, "Oh, you're Kyle's wife," and I'm like, "Her name's Jessica, by the way." You know what I mean? And like, or like I want to do like. I do social media, and I don't even do social media at a high level, right? Like, let alone if I start doing some TikToks, so it's like some dumb shit, dude. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, Jess, you want to do TikToks with me?"
That is not my thing.
Yeah,
Do not
man.
sign me up for that.
Well, so it's on my to-do list this year. So, but like I don't know, just like stuff like that. If you deal with that, and like if you ever feel like you're just like tagging along with Shelly,
Should have wore the shirt.
I should have worn the shirt.
He has a shirt that's pretty funny. He talks about, well, I don't remember how it says, what it says, but I hope you don't feel that way.
No.
But like I mean, we've got the My Board Ball, right? The Realtor Foundation Ball this Saturday that you and I are going to go to, and I feel so bad for her because like I'm like, hey, I'm going to take you to go be around 800 people that 10 of, know, and everybody's going to pull me away and try to talk to me, just so you know, and like have fun.
Well, you two will be there. You could.
I mean, that's one thing from the beginning. It seemed like we were going to these special events because it's kind of like end of fall, winter time, and we're going to all these events. But one thing you made me felt very included in all that stuff. I wasn't walking behind you. I was walking beside you. You introduced me to these people here. Yes, I only knew probably your family.
I mean, that's how I met you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but it wasn't that awkward, if you went out and talked to someone, I just sat there and ate my dessert or whatever it is. But it was pretty fun. Good experience.
What do you think? I think you hate it.
It's not my favorite thing, but it's all right. I mean, I think for me, it's like the first time that I go to some of these things. I'm like, oh God, I don't know what to expect. But then
what's it going to be
then
like?
I just figure
And
it
like
out.
you
And
said,
it's-
being an introvert, whereas he and I would go to the grocery store and talk to anybody, like you're like, that's the last thing I want to do, and be literally put right in front of them, and you
Yes.
have to talk to them
Yeah.
over and over, another new person. Yeah.
Oh, I'm the person who talks to people on the airplane. You know what I mean? It's
She
like,
does
hey,
too.
like,
Oh,
hey.
and I am not. I mean, I put my headphones on and I'm like, taking a nap or something. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually get family stories by the time I'm done meeting people.
So does he. Yeah.
I'm bad. I need to do better. I'm not as good as Shelly because I think it's like my ADD. So like, what will happen is, and Jess just knows this at this point. I want to tell you I'll be better, but like I just won't be. Like when we go to like those big events and stuff, and like I end up like because I just randomly talk to people, and then I end up in a conversation that I thought was going to be 2 minutes, and it's like 6 minutes all of a sudden, and like I'm like, oh shit, like I
left it behind.
I was here for a 2-minute conversation, and like I kind of like slink off and leave my wife in conversations a lot. And then she's like, what happened? She's like, I got stuck in a conversation with so-and-so. And I was like, oh yeah, I got out of it. And she's like, yeah, you got out of it by leaving me. And I was stuck there. And I was like,
I get it.
it's like, yeah. It's like, she's like, I'm just like, all right, I gotta go. And she doesn't know how to like get out of the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So she's just like, that's nice, Whereas like I'm like, hey, I gotta go now. Bye, guys. So I don't know. I it's really neat to have you guys on here. Like I bring Jess up quite a bit on the podcast, and just make jokes and stuff about what you have to deal with. She brings you up, so it's just neat to have you guys on here. And like this is something like Shelly and I have been doing for years together at this point, you know what I mean? And Shelly and I know you and you guys know each other and all this stuff. And I don't know, it's just neat. And, I don't think all agents get the experience you and I have to be as close with other agents. You know what I mean? To the point where like I know Jeff, I know Raquel, I know Jeremy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like And it's just neat. So, but more importantly, like I want you guys to be on here to know that like we appreciate you guys because like Shelly and I we don't exist if it's not for you guys. Like I can't imagine if I was single doing this, I would probably die because I wouldn't know how to stop. Like that's just the
That's why I
reality.
said before him, I would work till 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, just because. Well, there's another thing I could do. Oh, let's do the next thing. And before you
Yeah.
know it, you're looking at your clock, and it's I have to be up here, and I better take a little bit of sleep. Yeah. No, it does help you slow down a teeny bit when it's needed.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well,
I appreciate it. Now I owe her one because she didn't want to do this. So,
Take her out to lunch now.
huh?
You can take her out to lunch now.
I can take her out to lunch. I do. Where do you want to go to lunch?
I don't know.
We go to Joe's Butcher Shop. I'm a big fan of Joe's Butcher Shop. Yeah, we'll figure something out. So, I think it's going to cost me way more than lunch for the record, though. Just so you know.
I love Joe's Butcher Shop as well. We need to go there.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm Kyle Morris with Morris Property Group and FC Tucker.
Now Shelly Walters with the Shelly Walters Realty Group and FC Tucker. My cell phone's 317-201-2601.
Mine's 317-649-5122. And most importantly, go Hoosiers.